What's up, guys? It's Dylan from Fish For You here, and today we are going to answer the question that we've been getting asked by a lot of people, and that's how do we culture blackworms? But before we do that, I wanted to give you guys a real quick update on the 55-gallon tank. We did this in a couple other tanks, but I'm going to go ahead and show you that real quick. So as you can clearly see, it's much different than in the previous video. It looks a lot more, I don't know if you want to say like natural looking, or I just think it's for efficiency. But what I've done is I've put the filters over here, and we have kind of an open space for the adult fish to swim in, and you can see harlequins are swimming over there, and all of the guppies kind of swimming at the top. We do have the hatchet fish. Let me zoom in on them. But we have some marbled hatchet fish, and they're swimming at the very top right there. Anyway, and as we come over and get farther and farther to the left, it kind of gets more and more vegetation. So let me go ahead and show you this, but this is the far right, and then as we get farther and farther to the left, it's just denser and denser. And this is because we haven't been seeing any of the fry from these guys, and we've had them for quite a while, so we're hoping that doing this is gonna hopefully make more fry survive for us. So we'll let you know how that goes for us then. But anyway, let's get into the video. Okay, so let's go ahead and go over the list of items we need. We're gonna need some gravel, about a 1/2 inch to a 1/4 inch gravel. You'll understand why later, but it's gonna make it easier for us to harvest the worm. We're gonna need some sort of pipette or turkey baster or syringe. I use a syringe here. And then we're gonna need a container to harvest the worms in. For this container, we're using 17 inch by 11, almost 12 inches, and 6.5 inches high. So that's the size container we're using. You're gonna need a couple more things. It's gonna be an air stone, or something to circulate air throughout the container. And then we're also gonna need to get our blackworm culture that we're gonna be starting with. First thing to do then is we're gonna take the gravel and we need to wash this out. So I'm gonna meet you over there and we'll do that. So when we're washing off gravel, the easiest way to do so that I've found is to go ahead and poke a couple holes in the bottom of the bag. That way the water can drain out of the bag, okay? And then we're gonna go ahead and just cut a hole in the top of it. Once we're done with that, go ahead and just run the water right through it. And now we have nice clean gravel. Now that we have the rocks done, we're gonna need to add the rocks into our bin. We wanna make sure not to add too much. We're just gonna do a thin layer. We just need something that the worms can cling on to. So I'm gonna go ahead and show you that now. Whenever we harvest them later, that's what we're going to use the pipette for. All of the worms are going to be in throughout the rocks, and they're going to be probably down at the bottom, but hanging their mouths up at the top so they can get any food. What we're going to do to harvest them is stick the pipette in the bottom, and we're going to push it as we collect. So it'll look like this, right? And then we'll have a full tube of blackworms. So now that we have the rocks in here, we're gonna go ahead and put water in. And next to this, we have our bucket of dechlorinated water. And this is just tap water. It's not anything special, just tap water. Put some dechlorinator in it. We're gonna go ahead and start filling this up. All right, so you can see how nice and thin of a layer of rocks that is. We don't want anything too deep so that it's hard to dig into. Just need it so that they can hold themselves down and find something to hide in and breed in. But we're gonna go ahead and wait for this water to get to room temperature, and then I'm gonna come back here and we're gonna put the air stone in it, and then we're gonna go ahead and put our culture in it. So now our water is at room temperature. We have a few things to do and we're almost done. So what we're gonna do first is go ahead and I've taken an air stone, and I've attached it to some airline tubing and kind of cut a hole in the top of the sponge. I'm going to just go ahead and put that in. That's going to be my filter. It's nothing special. That's what we always use as our filter. That's pretty much all we have to do. Next thing, and the final thing actually, is we're going to go ahead and add our blackworm culture in. And I'm just going to go ahead and dump this in. Get as many of them in there as I can. And then I always like to go ahead and feed first. So whenever I don't know what to feed them, I just give them something random. So I'm going to go ahead and give them these shrimp cakes here by Lake to Land Aquatics. I just toss one of these in and they'll go crazy for you. You'll see in about 15 minutes or so, they'll all be on top of that eating. But as the culture gets bigger, I'm going to feed more and more. I want to make sure that there's constant food inside here. So if I wake up in the morning and I notice that there's no food in there, then either that morning or at night, I'll go ahead and toss some more food in. And I'll feed them everything, whatever my fish eat, whether it's cucumber or just random shrimp wafers or even pleco wafers. They can eat fish food, they'll eat anything. But higher quality foods, I think, would make them reproduce more. Like whenever we feed the cucumber, it's in there for 2 or 3 days, and the first day there's nobody on it, but the second day you can see everyone's on it eating it. There's thousands of them. So I would just go ahead and feed whatever you're feeding to your fish. And with this, you also do want to make sure to do at least weekly water changes, once a week. 50% water change, and with this being such a small container, that's not really a problem. It's going to take you 5 minutes to go get a bucket of water, empty it, and then dump the new bucket in. Just do that once a week and you're going to be golden. So I think it takes 3 weeks to culture the blackworms. That's pretty much it. So just leave this in there for about 3 weeks and you should see it'll be pretty full with blackworms everywhere. So I think I covered pretty much everything. If you have any other questions, go ahead and leave them down in the comments and I'll be sure to answer them. Other than that, go ahead and like and comment on our Facebook page, and we'll see you next time.
I'm a flop like a fish. I'm a flop like a fish. Flop on fish. Go ahead and flop